Hey guys, welcome to HipHughes History. In the next few minutes, we're going to try to break down the situation in Iraq so you can break it down and decide what you think we should do. But keep it nice and simple, folks. There are three main ethnic groups in Iraq. The northern part are called the Kurds. The eastern and southern are the Shiites. This is the dominant faction, the largest amount. And then on the western front, you have the Sunnis. Under Saddam Hussein, that was Sunni controlled, so kind of a minority group controlled Iraq. But Saddam Hussein was what we call a secular Sunni, which means that he wasn't really religious. You ever see Saddam Hussein in religious garb? Not so much. So when the United States came into Iraq, for whatever reasons, that's a whole different video, and removed the Sunni, the secular Sunni in charge, it's almost like we kind of took the linchpin out of the machine, and the whole thing kind of starts to break down. And when we were there for years and years and years, we were basically being attacked by Sunni extremists as well as Shiite extremists. Because at the end of the day, the leader of Iraq right now is Nouri Maliki. And Nouri Maliki is a Shiite, which is the dominant religion. But he's been less than friendly with the other ethnic groups. So when we left, we were kind of holding that wall up for a long time. The wall starts to fall down because those groups that include Kurds in the north, which really want to be left alone, they're probably the most moderate of the three groups, and they've aligned with Turkey, and there's a lot of kind of oil that they would like to control and kind of be left alone. But the Sunnis, they're the ones that are getting mad because the Shiite-dominated government has basically been rewarding Shiites and ignoring the Sunnis. If you were a Sunni, and God help you if you worked for Saddam Hussein in some kind of faction, you can't get a job. So many of those Sunnis have turned to extremism, and that extremism exists in that Sunni sect. The Gulf monarchy states like Saudi Arabia, those are Sunnis that have very radical elements within those sects, including Wahhabism and the 9/11 hijackers, and a lot of the rebels that are in Syria. In fact, Assad, who's the president of Syria, and who is a Shiite, like the leader of Iran and like Maliki, the leader of Iraq, many people believe that he wanted to kind of create an enemy that the world would kind of, stand with him against. So he released many of the radicals in the Syrian jails, the Sunni radicals, that once they got out, not only are they fighting Assad, but they've crossed over to Iraq. Not to mention all of the Al-Qaeda groups that went to Iraq when the United States invaded. So you have all of these guys that are kind of miffed, they're kind of upset, they're Sunnis, and they've been able to attract other Sunnis because other Sunnis feel disenfranchised from their government. Now, ISIS is the group that we're talking about because this is the group that now controls the western part of Iraq, controls all the border postings with Syria and most with Jordan, and they are the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. Sometimes it's called ISIL, which is the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant. This is kind of an old-time idea that people that are really, really, really religious believe that the Eastern Mediterranean, all the way from Israel through Iran and into Iraq, should be a fundamental Islamic state with Sharia law, meaning hardcore Quran type of stuff. And the ISIS, they've been pretty radical. They've said they've executed 1,600 Iraqi soldiers. They've been making people dig their graves and shooting them in the back of the head. On World Cup Day, they were throwing a human head around, and they hashtag World Cup the picture with the human head as their soccer ball. So these are guys that are pretty scary. Even Al-Qaeda wrote a letter that said, you need to chill because this isn't looking really good. But they're marching towards Baghdad, and that's the problem for us. You have all of these different sects, all of these different factions, and I don't think anybody really knows what to do. Do we align with Iran? Iran are Shiites, and Baghdad is a Shiite-controlled government. And then you also have Shiites like al-Sadr. Al-Sadr is more of a radical Shiite who has created his own militias again, and he wants to fight the terrorists, but not under the control of the Shiite-dominated government. So my head is spinning. Maybe there should be three countries. Should the United States go back in? Should we do drone bombing? Or should we just watch from the sideline because it's none of our business? But right now, it looks like the roof is caving in. And I think that that's probably something that we can all agree on. What we should do is a whole different story. So leave it down below. I hope you understand the basic concept. You have radical Sunnis and Sunnis in the West. You have the Shiite-dominated government with also radical Shiite sects like al-Sadr. And you also have the northern Kurds who are like, what the hell, just leave us alone. Giddy up for the learning, guys. I hope you understand it a little bit better. Now you probably should go read a newspaper article or something like that. Make sure you check out HipHughes History because we got tons of videos and you can go check them out and subscribe because you'd be doing the world a favor, I think. And also check out United Stuff of America, which is on H2 this summer on Saturday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you might see this mug, this ugly mug, speaking about the history. All right, there you go, guys. We'll see you next time when you tune in for some of the learning. I'm doing some of the teaching.